Hi everyone, this is Martin Dew with AVForums, and I have a very interesting product with me today, specifically for movie and game aficionados. This is the Goovis G3 Max 3D VR headset, and it looks like this. Now, this device is specifically for watching movies in isolation with no light leakage, and you can see the optical apparatus here. You place this on top of your head to watch a movie. Now, despite the company calling this a VR headset, it is neither a VR headset nor an AR headset, in that there is no head tracking feature. If you're watching a movie through the optical apparatus, if you move your head to one side or the other, the screen will not move away, it will go with you. Now, I'm going to discuss price just very quickly before we move on to some of the features. Now, if you buy the headset in isolation, it costs £841. It comes with a rather basic back of head strap, but here we have the zero pressure headband, which comes as part of the luxury package for £1,041. Now, this apparatus only weighs 300 grams, so it's quite light anyway, but we feel you will need this zero pressure headband. It also comes with an Android TV device, which looks like this. It's also a power pack, and it comes with a remote control like this. So that's all part of the luxury package for £1,041. Inside the optical section here, you've got two 2.5K OLED panels which are capable of DCI P3 color space, which is what you find when you're watching movies in your local multiplex. We'll come on to some of the features as we go through, but it can also accept a 4K signal. So you can, for example, watch your, Blu-rays. It's also capable of 3D, so you can watch your 3D Blu-rays. And if you're a gamer and you don't need virtual or augmented reality, you do get a 120 Hz refresh rate. Now, one of the really cool things about the G3 is that you get a very wide viewing angle to the screen once you've got the goggles on. And it is in fact a 65-degree viewing angle, which is about the equivalent of sitting halfway back, say at an IMAX theatre or at a premium large format cinema. And that really does mean that you get a very immersive experience. Now, I think it would have been a nice touch if maybe they'd created on the outside walls maybe the view that you might get inside some of the more famous cinemas around the world, and just select from a number of options to be able to achieve that. But unfortunately, that's not a feature that's available. It would have been cool if the lights went down and you got a feeling that you really were sitting in a cinema. Unfortunately, the sound is a little underwhelming. The sound comes from two bone conduction devices which are situated on the top of the head, at the top of the apparatus. But there is a 3.5mm headphone jack if you want to use your own phones, and of course you can use a pair of Bluetooth headphones as well. I used some Bang & Olufsen earbuds and they worked very well. So let's look at some of the controls on top of the device, or on top and surrounding the device. Let's start with the diopter dials, one of each on either side, and these focus your weaker eye, and you will have one. It's a bit like fine-tuning any other optical device like binoculars. There's also an IPD control, interpupillary distance. Now, this prevents double vision, so you can move those in and out to the maximum comfort for your eyes. There's a volume control above the left eye here, and then also there's a viewing angle adjustment where you can make the screen look a little further away so that your viewing angle is probably more like 40 degrees rather than 65 degrees. And then there's a 3D button here, so if you're watching any 3D content, the device snaps into that mode. Keep in mind that the Goovis does not have a battery pack on board, so you need to connect the headset to a powered device in order for it to work. In my case, I used an iPad, although you can of course connect to the Net TV dongle, the Android device I mentioned earlier. In terms of the performance though, I used the iPad to watch an awards screener, namely Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and I have to say the performance was spectacular. You can hardly perceive the pixels at all. The image is very smooth, but the colours absolutely pop. And there's great subtlety of colours as well with the DCI P3 spec. The shadow detail is all in check, as are the black levels. And of course, because this is a known environment, you don't have to calibrate this set. It already comes pre-calibrated, and it looks spectacular as a result. And then if you're moving on to 3D, I think this is the best 3D performance I've ever seen. I watched Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder, and honestly, the titles coming out at you and the various effects were incredible. So 3D lovers have really something to revel in here. In terms of the downsides, I didn't like the fact that there was so much on my head. I know it doesn't weigh that much at 300 grams, but you do feel slightly hemmed in. You've got the USB cable. When you're using a wired cable for headphones, that also gets in the way. So if you move, you've got to negotiate all those extra appendages around you. Also, you do feel very much hemmed in, I guess isolated in your own world. That's also the point of it. So it could be good while you're traveling, but you do need to be aware of your surroundings, and you can at least lift up the visor to check on the outside world occasionally when you want to. If you want to read my full review, please go to AVForums, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.